All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a fascinating galactic paradox. We're looking at the narrative of humanity's silent evolution and unpacking exactly how the most biologically pathetic species managed to, well, conquer the stars. It's honestly the ultimate underdog story where a fundamental lack of physical power actually became the catalyst for unmatched technological and strategic superiority across the entire galactic community.
So here is our central mystery. For thousands of years, every intelligent civilization in the galaxy agreed on one absolute, undeniable fact. Humans were the weakest species ever discovered. I mean, think about it. We're slow, we have absolutely no natural armor, no claws, no fangs, zero psychic abilities, and certainly no built-in biological weapons. Plus, our average lifespan is less than a single century. So how on earth did a species this vulnerable avoid extinction long enough to even invent the radio, let alone become the most formidable presence in the universe?
To put this into perspective, there was just a massive biological disparity on the Galactic Strength Index. On one side, you've got these towering Kragons who can literally lift armored tanks with their bare hands. You have the Valar using telepathic warfare, the insectoid Zekar breeding millions of soldiers, and the crystalline Othari who can regenerate from almost any wound. And then, you have human biology. Our running speed? Terrible. Strength? Completely pathetic. We ranked dead last on the Galactic Strength Index. We completely failed the standard galactic tests. You know, every new civilization had to complete this trial of survival, and our results were downright humiliating. Under strength, the strongest human couldn't even lift half the required weight. Under speed, our absolute fastest sprinter finished dead last. And under combat, the simulation ended in a mere 14 seconds. Humanity became a total laughingstock. We were basically a galactic meme, broadcast across the universe as pure entertainment. So, when Earth's representatives, led by Ambassador Elena Morris, finally stood among these giant alien species, they were greeted with this incredibly condescending offer. Being labeled a protected civilization was, of course, a thinly veiled insult. It basically meant humanity was being offered charity because we couldn't defend ourselves. But what's so fascinating is how the human ambassador responded, with this complete confusing calm. She just said, "We appreciate your concern." No anger, no wounded pride. Just a quiet acceptance that honestly worried absolutely no one at the time. Section 2. The Pirate Test. Infrastructure as a Weapon. Well, all that complacency brings us to our first real conflict. When a heavily armed pirate fleet attacked human colonies, the Galactic Council expected an immediate, groveling surrender. Instead, Earth executed a shocking 72-hour pivot. First, every single civilian seamlessly disappeared underground. Second, factories switched their priorities literally overnight, rerouting the entire power grid. And third, within 3 days, facilities that were manufacturing televisions were suddenly mass-producing advanced missiles. Adaptation completely replaced our lack of natural defenses.
Here is the crucial point. Humans weaponized everyday civilian infrastructure. When the pirate flagship entered orbit and saw zero military ships, they actually laughed, assuming we'd surrendered. But then, thousands of seemingly harmless communication satellites activated. Solar panels folded away to reveal hidden railguns, lasers, and missiles. The entire pirate fleet was completely annihilated in just 6 minutes. It was a terrifying efficiency that the rest of the galaxy couldn't even comprehend. But humanity? We simply called it planning.
Moving on to the Kragan mistake. Attacking problems, not armies. Now, you'd think that event would deeply unsettle galactic analysts, right? But it didn't stop the Kragan Empire from making a fatal miscalculation. Driven by the arrogant assumption that because humans were weak individually, we'd collapse collectively, they sent a massive invasion fleet of 500 warships into the solar system. Why were they so confident? Because of one official number, 48. That was the completely reasonable number of ships listed in Earth's naval database right before the attack. The Kragans thought it was going to be a total massacre. But then their sensors started picking up anomalies. Contrast that initial 48 with this wildly escalating number. 100 ships, 200, 500. Suddenly the readings climbed over 1,000. Asteroids opened up, moons unfolded, mining stations and cargo ships completely transformed into fully armed warships. Factories suddenly became fleet carriers. Literally every single civilian structure contained hidden military capability. Honestly, you just have to imagine the absolute panic on the Kragan flagship. The Kragan admiral, watching this massive, heavily armed human fleet materialize out of thin air, whispered this exact question in utter disbelief. Where did they hide all of this?
And the answer provided by his officer is the massive twist that perfectly encapsulates humanity's entire strategy. They never hid it. They disguised it. Because humans couldn't rely on thick skin or raw biological strength, we had to learn to hide in plain sight. We made our weapons look exactly like our tools.
The core of human asymmetrical warfare was something they just couldn't predict. See, the Kragans expected glorious head-to-head battles, where their physical superiority would obviously win. But humans? We completely refused to play that game. Instead, we made their supply lines vanish. We blew up their field depots and jammed their communications. We didn't attack their terrifying armies. We attacked the logistics that kept those armies alive. Because of this strategy, after just 3 weeks, the mighty Kragan fleet was left with only 4 days of food. When captured Kragan officers finally asked human commanders why on earth we fought this way, General Marcus Hale delivered this profound quote. He said, "Because we had no choice. When you're born the weakest, you stop trying to become stronger. You become smarter. You prepare. You adapt." And that perfectly crystallizes our core paradox. Physical limitation is the ultimate catalyst for boundless mental innovation. Next up, Project Atlas and redefining real strength. Let's look at the final Kragan assault and see how humanity's strategy builds into a total galactic paradigm shift. Because for us, it wasn't just about winning a war. It was about changing the very definition of what it meant to be strong. During the last desperate Kragan assault, Earth unveiled Project Atlas. Thousands of perfectly synchronized autonomous defense drones emerged directly from our oceans. There was no shouting, no panic, just perfect machine synchronization. In exactly 43 minutes, the entire invasion fleet was captured. Not destroyed, mind you, but captured, because humans much prefer the efficiency of ending wars over the messy business of actually fighting them. Following this absolutely stunning victory, the Galactic Council completely threw out their old metrics. The Strength Index, which judged civilizations strictly by their muscles, was removed forever. It was replaced with an entirely new set of metrics: adaptability, innovation, resilience, cooperation, and strategic thinking. And in this new index, a system built on minds rather than biology, humanity ranked absolutely first in every single category. The realization of the entire galaxy is summed up so beautifully by the Kragan ambassador. He admitted they used to believe strength meant winning fights. Instead, as he said, humans taught the galaxy that real strength is making sure you never need one. True power is preparation, intelligence, and having the infrastructure to deter a fight before it ever even begins. Finally, we reach the epilogue, tomorrow's invention, which brings us to why this matters so deeply to us today. Understanding humanity's silent evolution isn't just a cool story about surviving alien invasions. It's about recognizing that acknowledging our own limitations is actually our greatest superpower. Years later, an alien student asked an elderly human if we were ever truly the weakest species. The old man admitted that, yeah, we still are. We still break bones, we still get sick, we still fear the dark. But the truth is, no one challenges humanity anymore. Because every weakness we have becomes tomorrow's invention. The galaxy no longer fears human physical strength. They fear our endless potential to innovate our way out of any corner we're backed into. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Look at your own life and look at the trajectory of our species as a whole. If it's true that our greatest vulnerabilities are the exact fuel we use for our most brilliant breakthroughs, if every weakness truly becomes tomorrow's invention, what incredible things will humans build next?